in the terrorist massacre in Pahalgam. India has attacked Pakistan. This is a retaliation. Let me be clear. It isn't an escalation, but a retaliation. It was Pakistan who started. India has given it an end. But is it really an end? A lot of developments coming in on the impending fallout between India and Pakistan. Let me, as usual, take you through the headlines. India rains fire on Pakistan. Nearly 100 terrorists killed in precision strikes at 9 terror camps. 14 members of Masood Azhar's family, along with those killed in the Indian military strike. In fact, Masood Azhar's family released a statement saying that this is evil. Pakistan put on red alert after anti-terror strikes by India. All hospitals on emergency footing. Airspace shut for 24 to 36 hours. Prime Minister Modi briefs President Murmu and the cabinet. In fact, an all-party meeting to be held tomorrow to discuss national security. Union Home Minister Amit Shah holds security review meeting with chief ministers and lieutenant governors of border states of Pakistan as well as Nepal. 15 civilians have been killed and 43 injured as Pakistan continues to violate ceasefire. In fact, unprovoked firing that's currently on along the line of control. 15 innocents have died on the Indian side. Here you have it, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, who saluted the armed forces for their valour, says India targeted only terror camps. It was a strategic strike. The Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri briefed India about the missile strike on Pakistan and also briefed foreign envoys, while you had the NSA Doval telling the Chinese counterpart that India will retaliate if any misadventure by Pakistan. India prepares for an eventuality, which is why civic mock drills were ordered across the country. Of course, at that point, one did not know that India will be carrying out an attack on Pakistan, but the drills happened as scheduled across most parts of India, particularly the border states.
मतलब कि इमरजेंसी की सूरत हाल है हॉस्पिटल के अंदर।
And those were the images that flooded media platforms, social media platforms, broadcast right here through the day. I've been reporting on this attack that India has carried out on Pakistan, and the visuals, in a way, was satisfying, I should say, to see Pakistan being brought to book, being held responsible and accountable for what happened in Pahalgam. In a powerful and a precise response, India has struck back at Pakistan in retaliation for the Pahalgam terror attack that's left 26 innocent civilians dead. 24 precision missile strikes were fired at 9 locations in Pakistan early this morning, and Pakistan occupied Kashmir particularly. In fact, precisely at 1:44 a.m. was when the targeted strikes took place. Government sources say the coordinated strikes killed over 100 terrorists, injured more than 60 others, dealing a major blow to many of the terror outfits and their launch pads in parts of Pakistan. The operation that was named as Operation Sindoor was executed in a rapid 25-minute window. Literally in 25 minutes, India avenged the deaths of Pahalgam innocents. This happened between 1:05 to 1:44. Key terror infrastructure belonging to Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish Mohammed and Hizbul Mujahideen were precisely targeted using credible intelligence inputs. In a detailed briefing earlier today, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, along with two of his women leading command there, Wing Commander Vyomika Singh and Colonel Sofia Qureshi, both addressed the media and presented satellite maps and strike footage of the operation. Now, Wing Commander Vyomika Singh emphasized that targets were chosen very carefully. India was very sure as to who they wanted to attack, where they wanted to attack. It was enough research that was done and that was presented through a presentation as part of that press conference. In fact, they did very specifically mention that their aim was to ensure civilians don't become casualties. Let's take a listen.
9 terrorist camps were targeted and successfully destroyed. They are distributed from Savai Nala in the north, counting to approximately 21, ending at Bhagalpur to the south. The locations were so selected to avoid damage to civilian infrastructures and loss of any civilian lives.
ऑपरेशन सिंदूर 22 अप्रैल को पहलगाम में हुए विभत्स आतंकवादी हमले के शिकार मासूम नागरिकों व उनके परिवारों को न्याय देने के लिए लॉन्च किया गया था। इस कार्रवाई में 9 टेररिस्ट कैंप्स को टारगेट किया गया और पूरी तरह से इसे बर्बाद किया गया।
Our intelligence monitoring of Pakistan-based terrorist modules indicated that further attacks against India were impending. There was thus a compulsion both to deter and to preempt. India exercised its right to respond and preempt as well as deter more such cross-border attacks. These actions were measured, non-escalatory, proportionate and responsible.
Now, we know the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been very closely monitoring the operations. He's hailed the Indian armed forces for their precise and powerful response to terror. He also chaired a meeting of Union Cabinet hours after Operation Sindoor had launched and was a success. Soon after, the Prime Minister held a separate high-level review meeting as well with Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, to assess the evolving security situation, because we know this does not end here. Looking at Pakistan's nefarious activities in the past, it's very likely that they could come up with a surprise. And here's the Indian government now strategizing on how to contain a situation if it occurs. Let's take a listen. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and what really inspired him when he saw Operation Sindoor play out.
जैसे कि आप सबको जानकारी है कि कल रात हमारी भारतीय सेनाओं ने अपने अद्भुत शौर्य और पराक्रम का परिचय देते हुए एक नया इतिहास रच दिया है। साथियों, भारत की सेना ने सटीकता, सतर्कता और संवेदनशीलता के साथ कार्रवाई की है। हमने जो लक्ष्य तय किए थे उन्हें ठीक समय तय योजना के अनुसार सटीकता से उन्होंने ध्वस्त किया है और किसी भी नागरिक ठिकाने, सिविलियन पॉपुलेशन को जरा भी प्रभावित न होने देने की संवेदनशीलता भी हमारी सेना ने दिखाई है। तो हम कह सकते हैं एक तरीके की सटीकता, सतर्कता और मानवीयता यह हमारी भारत की सेना के जवानों ने दिखाई है।
That's the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, who really hailed the armed forces, taking pride in them. We also had a response to the Indian strikes. Pakistan had, in fact, reacted after the attacks from India. In fact, Pakistan said the armed forces of their country has been authorized to take action now. The Pakistan Security Committee said the Neelun Jhelum hydropower project was also discussed. Pakistan claims that India violated international conventions. In many ways, this strike is an absolute declaration of war and therefore they are compelled to react. Of course, cutting short of saying what exactly they are going to do, Pakistan said, we will react and respond at a place and time of our choosing. Pakistan has claimed that there were no terrorist camps on its soil and that the attacks were largely on civilians, and called on the international community to look into the Kashmir issue, saying this is impending and it's about time it's resolved. Pakistani Defence Minister Khwaja Asif said Islamabad is ready to wrap these tensions between the two countries if India backs down. Here's what he said to a media platform.
Initiated by India. If India backs down, we will definitely wrap up these things, but as long we are under attack, under fire, we have to respond, we have to defend ourselves.
All right, let me quickly take in our panelists joining us. Ambassador Sanjay Bhattacharya, former Secretary, Ministry of External Affairs. He's Officer of Repute joining us. Thank you very much, sir. We also have Ambassador Jayant Dasgupta, former Ambassador to WTO. Also Lieutenant General Raj Shukla, former General Officer, Commanding-in-Chief, ARTRAC. Air Vice Marshal P.K. Srivastava, also Defence and Strategy expert. Thank you very much. My first question, of course, to Ambassador Sanjay Bhattacharya. You've been former MEA, sir. What was the strategic objective behind India's strike? We know that India had to avenge the Pahalgam massacre, but the fact that India waited for 2 weeks and then went on to precisely strike its terror targets itself shows, of course, one, India's maturity. But I do want to know what may have been part of the agenda while planning out this attack, because most of us as common citizens, even as a journalist myself, I thought this will be a much louder noise or a much bigger attack that Pakistan will have to face. But by and large, we've seen India going strategic, but yet at the same time speaks a lot of our maturity. I might be jingoistic right now, saying we want Pakistan dead. But of course, we know that there's a process to avenging an attack as well, and that's what India has done. It stored every line, maintained that discipline, showed our maturity, and gone ahead with ensuring justice as well.
Well, thank you for having me on the show, firstly. I think this is the way India behaves. This is the new India, a confident India that is on its path to becoming a major power in global affairs. And it recognizes that for a very long period of time, for many decades, in fact, Pakistan has been waging terror against us. And therefore, what happened at Pahalgam and also what happened earlier in the past in 2019, 2016 and earlier needed a certain kind of retaliation. So the first aspect of it was retaliation. At the same time, India was quite definite that its particular measure should be such that it should be progressively more than what it was in the past. And I think you've seen evidence of that as compared to 2016 and 2019. But at the same time, it should also not be one that should be perpetuating towards escalation. Because our objectives in this particular endeavor are not just to teach Pakistan a lesson and to have a certain deterrence force, but also to ensure that our overall objectives of economic growth and development and becoming a major economy is sustained. And that we don't lose track of sight of that particular objective. I think on the first particular objective of retaliation, the Indian Armed Forces have done extremely well, and I commend them for their efforts and success. On the second one, which is of deterrence, I think this is something that is now going to unfold because the Pakistanis are almost certainly likely to respond and retaliate. And we will have to take that as it comes. But I think the effort in crafting the narrative in the global community and in trying to posit Pakistan as that epicenter of terror, which needs to be dealt with at a global level, will now go up, and it will have to notch up a particular step. And we will have to step up those activities in that particular regard. And this would, at the same time, ensure a longer, medium, and longer-term objectives of attaining economic growth and development and becoming a major power.
Ambassador Jayant Dasgupta, if you could give us a sense of Pakistan and its response, saying India has committed an act of war and it's now time for us to retaliate. and we must defend ourselves. We're very well within our right to defend ourselves, and we will react and respond at a time and place of our choosing. You know, this response that we will react at a time and place of our choosing, should we take this as a credible statement coming in from a country like Pakistan? And what does this mean in the military doctrine?
Pakistan, I think, as Ambassador Sanjay Bhattacharya just mentioned, it is most likely to retaliate. And obviously, it will take its own time, but not too long to retaliate because of various reasons. The first reason is that the army, which determines policy of the state, if I may say so, rather than the other way around, the state deciding the policy for the army is losing credibility. It has got a bloodied nose in Balochistan. It is facing a lot of trouble on the Afghan border. It's facing deep trouble in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. So, in order to restore its credibility and to divert the attention of the people, I think this attack in Pahalgam was engineered by the army through its non-state actors, as it wishes to call its terrorist wing, which is, I think, a wing of the Pakistan army. Now, the issue is that in order to further its objective of diverting attention, of restoring its credibility, and to whip up the patriotic fervor in Pakistan, it has to show some aggressive intent and action. So it will definitely attack, that is my reading, and it will do so. It has to, in doing so, it has two options. India has refrained, I think, from, and it has come out in all the statements, from attacking any Pakistan army establishment. It has only targeted terror camps. And Pakistan, of course, has been saying that they don't have any terror camps. And it is only the civilians who have been targeted. But that is, of course, Pakistan's way of putting things across. Now, the point is that Pakistan has two options, as I was saying. One, to target Indian terrorist establishments, of which there are none. India doesn't harbor terrorists, as Pakistan has been doing for decades. The second option is to attack military installations, strategic installations. And I think Pakistan may be tempted to go down that path and attack military establishments, especially in the northern and western sectors. But I don't rule out the possibility of its using its non-state actors in Bangladesh also to launch some attack in the eastern or northeastern part of India. So that is something which we need to be guarding ourselves against.
A quick word from General Raj Shukla. We're looking at Pakistan now, trying to lap up sympathy from countries across. They've been constantly playing the victim card, saying India's internal hand, we are being blamed for nothing, and we will retaliate because it's an escalation that India has shown. We will respond. Now, do you believe globally Pakistan has any standing when it says we are not involved in harboring terror? How far do their comments or their statements really hold water?
Let me just say how I view the salience of what happened in the early hours of this morning. You know, many years back, Mr. KPS Gill, the super cop, had said that you will not win the war on terror by merely running after terrorists. You will win the war by overwhelming the adversary. And, you know, this Operation Sindoor has helped convert that manifest wisdom into a strategic reality. I therefore think this is a seminal moment in our statecraft as also in our war of terror. You see, what's happened is that in the unfolding of the what I call calibrated military kinetics, we have set new normals in terms of execution and in terms of deterrence. If you see the target array, while it was confined to the terror ecosystem, we have expanded the swath greatly from Muzaffarabad to Sialkot, Kotli, all the way down to Bahawalpur. And the manner, look at the symbolism. When we say operational Sindoor, we have shown a national resolve to avenge the losses and grief of our young brides. And I think the real icing on the cake is, at least based on the information that is available so far, that the military execution was pretty outstanding. To me, it seems an 8 on 10, if not a 9 on 10. The way we synchronize sensors, shooters, leveraging of human and space in ISR platforms, loiter munitions, drones, in that half an hour of, power packaged, or a half an hour of, powerful precision strikes, we have delivered a very profound message. Look at the gaps in the Pakistani AD system. Where was their HQ9? So I really think it has been quite an outstanding success. And what it has really done, that is the real point, depending on the escalation. Have we sent a message to Pakistan that under this nuclear cover, which is actually a schoolboy bluff, can you go on this terror rampage? That is the real point. And if we deter Pakistan from that, we would have re-established deterrence. And in a larger sense, I think, it is also a strategic evolution in our statecraft. I remember 2611. I was a colonel when Parakram happened, when we were mobilized, the Kaluchak military station was hit, and we did nothing. So that, impression of a soft state, that is steadily changing. And we are becoming a state that is powerful, restrained, calibrated, but with one clear message, at least to Pakistan, that kindly don't mess with us. I think
I suppose Pakistan knows that way too well, because in a conversation which we played out for our viewers a little earlier to a media person abroad, he says that we are not the ones who escalated. It was India who escalated. If they back down, then we will back off.
But I'll tell you what we've told him. We retain what is known as escalatory dominance, which is what? That, listen, we have hit your terror targets. We had other choices. We exercise restraint. You want to escalate, come. We are waiting for you. We have the escalatory dominance. He has to respond. In the military dynamics, that is hugely important. So the whole politico-military orchestration of this strike, at least on the information base so far, I think is rather brilliant.
But before I get to our Air Marshal on the panel, I will cut to the very important news that's coming in even at this hour. Pakistan violating ceasefire along the line of control. We hear nearly 15 civilians have died. Now, this is a tragic fallout of the rising hostilities between the two countries. At least 15 civilians have been killed as Pakistan continues shelling forward villages along the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir. Pakistan Army has opened artillery and mortar fire across multiple sectors, including Poonch, Rajouri, Uri and Karna. Later in the day, Pakistan also attacked Gurdwara Shri Guru Singh Sabha Sahib in Poonch. In fact, there 3 people were killed, many others were injured. Those are some of the images that you see there. The shelling continued non-stop and it was far too aggressive. This comes shortly after India carried out those missile attacks, targeting their terror camps across the border. Officials say that Poonch district was the worst hit, accounting for all of the 15 civilian deaths and nearly 40 injuries. Almost entire families were forced to take shelter in underground bunkers or flee to safer areas. In fact, several homes caught fire, vehicles were damaged, schools and hospitals were hit in the barrage. Poonch bus stand suffered a big shelling. I will take you through a report that News 9's correspondent has had right on the ground, Sandeep Bhatt.
अभी भी जो रुक रुक कर फायरिंग है वो पाकिस्तान की तरफ से की जा रही है। आप छोटे बच्चे देख सकते हैं, बुजुर्ग देख सकते हैं, उनके साथ साथ जो यहाँ पर नौजवान हैं उनको देख सकते हैं, क्योंकि पाकिस्तान लगातार सीज फायर का उल्लंघन कर रहा है। कुछ गांव वाले भी हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं, उनसे बात करेंगे। कितनी जबरदस्त फायरिंग रही?
सर रात को लगभग 1:30 बजे के करीब बहुत हैवी शेलिंग हुई यहाँ पे, तो हमने पूरी रात बैंकर में निकाली है।
डर का माहौल है?
डर का माहौल है सर, खेत में जा नहीं सकते हैं।
इस बात की खुशी है कि भारत ने अपना बदला लिया?
हाँ जी, बहुत खुशी है हमें जो भारत ने अपना बदला लिया है स्थायी बंधु का।
इसी बंकरों में रहे हैं, आप देख सकते हैं कि पूरी तरीके से यहाँ के जो लोग हैं वो साफ तौर पे भारतीय सेना के साथ खड़े हुए हैं। लगातार पाकिस्तान की तरफ से लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल के इलाके में सीज फायर का उल्लंघन किया जा रहा है। भारतीय सेना पाकिस्तान को मुंह तोड़ जवाब दे रही है।
You know, a quick word from General Shukla on this. Sir, we are looking at Pakistan firing so aggressively along the line of control. It's as if they've lost it, have no other way to respond to India's strike, and therefore being extremely aggressive along the line of control. They've completely violated ceasefire, 13th consecutive day. Why do you think this kind of brazenness from Pakistan along the LOC? We know that we've struck them. They are angry, but is this the response we expect? Is that all?
That doesn't surprise me. The LOC has hotted up many times in the past, and the Indian Army knows exactly how to respond to this kind of stuff. So it will escalate for a while, and the Indian Army has many tools in its quiver to set all these things right. We'll quieten the line of control in a while. At the moment, in the larger scheme of things, while all that's happening is of course tragic, but the LOC in that sense is not as significant. The larger escalation, how we absorb the response, how we respond to what comes our way in the other domains, air. Remember, there's also a maritime domain which hasn't yet been leveraged. And if India really wants to re-establish terror, we must follow it up this time. Pakistan cannot be allowed to get away for the simple reason that, as I say, terror cannot be a tool in your statecraft in the modern international system in the 21st century. This message has to be got across to Pakistan.
Our Air Marshal, who's been with us, your take on the tri-service operation. This was a collective effort that was carried out by the Indian Army, the Navy and the Air Force. Largely aerial strikes. How do you think the three teams collaborated together to carry out these aerial strikes and with precision? Would you be able to divulge on what kind of ammunition was used? What were our weapons? And did we breach Pakistan's airspace or borders?
Thank you for being on your show, and I was listening to both the learned ambassadors and our general. What he brought out is very significant, that terror has become the statecraft for Pakistanis and primarily for Pakistani army. What is most significant in this kind of strike is not one-off like Balakot or Uri. It is a strike which is right across the western border, whether it is the northern sector or J&K sector or Punjab sector or Rajasthan sector. Across and deep into Punjab, we have hit 4 targets, rather headquarters. Markaz is nothing but like a core headquarters for them, and they get their training and they even pass out. All the jihadis, they pass out from there. And generals from Pakistani army, they attend. You can see the dichotomy of administration over there, that Prime Minister and other cabinet ministers, they went to ISI headquarters to attend a briefing the previous night. So this shows the kind of state it is. And you're asking about what kind of weapons and what kind of platforms we used and how we did. So let me come to the weapons. Primarily, we have made use of 2 weapons. One is Scalp, which is a missile which goes from air to ground. It has an accuracy which we call circular air probability of nearly less than 3 meters. It can be about 1 to 2 meters, even from a distance as far as 400 kilometers. And this comes in the range of 250 to 560 also, depending on which version you're going to use it. Now, the second weapon was Hammer, which is highly agile, modular munition, extended range, is kind of precision attack thing. It's a kit which we attach to all our gravity bombs, and then they become, precision bombs. They become PGMs, precision guided munitions, and they also have an accuracy of 1 to 2 meters. Now, the two good things have happened, two messaging have happened for the Pakistan military to take note. Firstly, that we know where you are hiding. We know wherever you are, we have the exact coordinates, exact human intelligence, exact space intelligence, electronics intelligence, communication intelligence to pin you down. And we also know how to strike it so accurately. It's a real, if you really talk in terms of Indian Air Force or Air Forces of the world, it's one of its kind. The precision is phenomenal. And we really salute the guys who have done it. It's absolutely brilliant. And you talked about crossing the border. None of our aircraft, manned aircraft, crossed the border. But we do have the visuals of the place because we had to do the battle damage assessment, and we had sent out surveillance drones to take a picture and assess for ourselves militarily as to what damage has taken place. Do we have to revisit these targets, or these targets are destroyed? Those pictures are there. They are also used to convince, we call all the ambassadors of 5 permanent UNSC members and 9 except Pakistan, because Pakistan happens to be a non-permanent member now, to give them proof. What we hit was not a military target, was not a civilian target, was a target which we are entitled to hit and hot pursue as per international laws. We have hit only targets which were the terror targets, and they were headquarters, and they are well known to the world. There's nothing to be known. And the precision has indicated that yes, only terror targets were hit. Terror infrastructure is there, and you can see how these terrorists are being wrapped up in Pakistani flag and moving out. This has brought even Pakistani armies, the way they are in cahoot with the terrorists. There is a big, big kind of, we will say, evidence available to us.
Yeah.
This evidence will be very handy and available in times of need, when we have to tell world that we have not done, we have reacted to the kind of attack which was done on us, on our young brides. And you can imagine the name itself spells that the nation is full of emotions. It's very emotional moment that you really take. And all those people who are martyred on that day, who had nothing to do with anything statecraft, they were just celebrating, enjoying the kind of meadows which are there. And then you go and ask for the religion. Asking for the religion, then shooting, is a kind of attacking our soul. Yeah. Indian soul is unity of Hindu, Muslim, and all religions. You're attacking the soul. There was a response necessary, and I agree with General that we have been deemed as a soft state. We need to erase that thing fully and completely and give out a message. If you come and hit us, we will not, shy away from searching you, hunting you, or hitting you at the time of our choosing. That's what
I would like to remind our viewers that this time it seems like India has really used some really advanced technology while carrying out these precision strikes. And if I could show you, those are the images, in fact, some of the graphic images that were presented by our forces. In fact, the Foreign Secretary, Vikram Misri, when he actually held that press conference, you had the wing commander, the colonel, both ladies who presented a presentation to the media, of course, for the world to see on how and precisely how, where they spotted those terror launch pads and they targeted them. They've used advanced artificial intelligence. This is what we hear. In fact, advanced surveillance and analytics and AI has been used for precision strikes on these terror camps in Pakistan during Operation Sindoor in the last 24 hours. How it really works, we hear, is that the AI-powered image recognition and pattern analysis were used to pinpoint the terror hubs with minimal collateral damage. In fact, AI helped it all the more, the attacks itself to be a lot more accurate and precise. Also real-time data fusion. So AI systems helped fuse inputs from the satellite drones and ground intelligence to create actionable strike coordinates. Also, AI-enhanced algorithms that assisted in adjusting missile trajectories mid-air to ensure pinpoint hits on moving or camouflage targets. So this really marks a significant shift in India's counter-terror strategy that's used tech to very quietly deliver a high-impact blow on Pakistan. Marshal, look at the technology that India has used here. We believe AI has been integrated and in quite an advanced stage, because in 2 weeks after the Pahalgam attack, for India to come together and strategize such a precise attack with their 9 terror targets that they've identified, zeroed down and attacked to be a success. Operation Sindoor has been a success. It couldn't have happened without the help of advanced technology. Would you want to touch upon the kind of surveillance we've used?
Yeah, so what we do now in Indian Air Force, we have IACCS, because you need a net-centric Indian Air Force to do this job, where net centricity is very important. We have been able to fuse, as you rightly said, space assets which are there in terms of our imagery assets, our radar intelligence assets, our EM intelligence assets, and our communication assets. And also, we have been able to, from my time into Indian Air Force, which is long time back, we have started in plotting their information order of battle. So we have their all cyber information, or what is flowing on their networks. We also have E-orbit worked out. And all this, when this gets synthesized, you check it out with the human intelligence, and then AI walks in. AI actually comes into 6th generation aircraft, but here when you put in the net-centric kind of warfare and you put AI, it helps in recognizing a kind of target which you have. And those features, when they get embedded, the accuracy of intelligence and the weapon precision, these two things, when they combine together, then only you can have this kind of hit. You have rightly spelled it out. That is what which happens. But two things are very clear, that our Air Force has moved into net-centric kind of Air Force. We have assets concerning those net centricity. Also, precision. Precision is very important for today's modern Air Force, because you're not supposed to be causing any collateral damage which is not intended to. You see, if we compare it with Israel or kind of American attacks on Houthis and Israeli attack on Gaza, there's a lot of collateral damage. They were not using this kind of thing because we are operating within the realm of international rules and regulation. We didn't want to give a chance for Pakistanis to raise a kind of ruckus about civilians dying, children, women, all that. There'll be some kind of photo op done by ISPR also to bring this out as a propaganda. So we had these visuals. We also had this battle damage assessment, and we showed it to the world that this is what we are doing. And this Air Force, very strong message, is capable of doing this. You do next time, we'll do it better. And as far as General was talking about the escalatory ladder, we are ready and completely ready. This also demonstrates one more thing, if I can just bring out that point. There are seed operations, what we call separation of enemy air defenses, is working and has worked. Unless that works, you may have some kind of attack on your assets which are going to do this action and target annihilation. So we are ready.
As per what I hear from you, we are ready, and we've never been more prepared and emboldened than we ever have. You know, the beauty of India is when something like this happens, when we are under threat or attack, it's just so beautiful to see the country coming together as one solid unit. As much as the enemies would want and like to see India break, the fact that we are the only most diverse country in this universe, India manages just to cling together the moment there is an adversity. And that's what's happened yet again. There were attempts to split the country based on religious lines, but it seems like from every direction, Indians have come together, standing very strong with the government, hailing the government's effort with Operation Sindoor, and backing India wholly, fully in ensuring Pakistan is put in its place. Now, I will take in our MEA here to give us a little sense on what the global perception is about India-Pakistan at this point. But before that, very interesting visuals that came in from earlier today were that of the civil defense mock drills. It flooded our media feed from different parts of the country. What was supposed to be a mock drill literally became a war drill because, well, India attacked Pakistan in the dead of the night. It came hours before the mock drills had to happen. Some experts say that this could have been a diversionary tactic and without, of course, any one of us even imagining a strike took place in the dead of the night. Yet the drills took place as per schedule, and these were images that came in from far and wide. preparedness that was arranged as per directions by the Union Home Ministry that were rolled out massive civil defence mock drills across 244 districts amid escalating tensions between India and Pakistan. In fact, we are looking at these operations, drills that came just 2 weeks after Pahalgam terror strike. In fact, the drills were conducted in coordination with state governments and union territories covering most corners, largely border states and many districts that were identified to be sensitive. Officials say the exercise involved activation of air raid sirens, blackout protocols and public training sessions, including for schools and college students, on how to respond in the event of an aerial or a ground attack. So 244 districts went through this, were grouped into 3 categories. Category 1, requiring full civil defence implementation. Category 2 and 3 carried out partial protocols based on strategic vulnerability. Sources in the Home Ministry say the Operation Abhyas aims to bolster community resilience and readiness for any eventuality, as India, even at this point, is on high alert. In fact, we are on high alert at this point. After India struck Pakistan, it could very well be possible in the near future, as most of the guests that I've spoken to today have said, insisted that Pakistan is known to react immediately, so don't be surprised if it comes a little too soon. So we've got to be prepared, on our toes. These drills were necessary, and that's what India went through. Those were visuals that came in from far and wide. Sir Bhattacharya, your take on what perception this gives for countries across the globe who've seen India and Pakistan and its tensions. Most countries have only said one thing: please be calm, have a dialogue, escalation is not good. You know, the most diplomatic answers that every nation I can imagine has given. United States says we will help India with resources, but I'm not too sure if we can entirely bank on them, because they're supplying ammunition also to Pakistan, or F-16s to Pakistan. So they could very well be playing the balancing act. But give us a little sense on the country looking at India-Pakistan at this point.
I think as we go on from here, the question of how we can mobilize the global community in this war on terror, and to have Pakistan labeled as a terrorist state, not just an aider and abetter of terrorism, but as a terrorist state, will be an important task for all of us. And in this particular effort, I think the struggle has been going on for a long time, and I think we have many allies, but there are certain naysayers as well. One of the things that has come about is in terms of the response to the Pahalgam terrorist attack. And I think over there was outright condemnation by virtually every country. However, when it came to the attack that we had on the terrorist infrastructure in Pakistan last night, the responses have been somewhat different. We, of course, had Israel, who came out very openly in support of us and our right to self-defense. But most countries hoped that there would be a certain balance and a calm would ensure, and it would not be allowed to escalate further. I think the remarks from China were particularly interesting because on the one hand, they talked of the incident of our attack being regrettable, which is something that I would say was regrettable. But at the same time, they called for calming the situation and not allowing it to escalate. So it was like a balance in that state. As you know, External Affairs Minister has been speaking to a number of his colleagues, and we've had various briefings of diplomats, not only in Delhi, but in capitals across the world. I think the kind of reaction that we had to the special session, closed-door session of the United Nations Security Council, where Pakistan is a non-permanent member at this stage, and where it was perceived that it might have an advantage, actually worked out to the negative for them, because the advantage worked out to be a bit of the other way around, and there were some very difficult questions that were asked from the sources that I hear about it. But I think in this particular effort, there will have to be renewed effort to put Pakistan on the mat at FATF when the IMF discusses the possibilities of advances for its stabilization fund. when the World Bank, if it comes up to look at the issue of the Indus Waters Treaty, so the effort to mobilize the international community will have to be done. There is one point that I wanted to add about Foreign Secretary Misri's briefing, in which he elaborated the ideology behind this particular strike. And in addition to saying that it was a retaliation, Foreign Secretary Misri also mentioned that it was a preemptive strike, given that we had information that they were preparing additional terrorist attacks on us. Now, this idea of preemption has been used for the first time, as far as I can see, in this particular context. And if you extend it further, that can be a credible deterrence in the future, because I think to a large extent, this perhaps will not be a sufficient deterrence for the Pakistan armed forces, for whom the very survival and their face depends on having some form of retaliation. But this preemptive nature, and if we can take this up in the future and have other strikes, even before the attacks have happened, will give a very strong signal, not only to the Pakistani terrorists and the terrorist organizations, but particularly to the armed forces who actually support those particular agencies.
Right. You know, I hear, and I've been told, all army personnel, their summer holidays have been cut short. They've been asked to rush to their posts. You know, there's no more breather now. You've got to stay on high alert. So is there something that is coming that we've got to be cautious of? I'm going to take your word on that, Ambassador Dasgupta and General Shukla. Right after a short break, if you could give me a moment, we'll be right back.
Smashing corporate boundaries through sport. The News9 Corporate Badminton Championship 2025, in collaboration with Padma Shri Pulela Gopichand, offers corporations a unique opportunity to boost employee engagement through sport.
It's a perfect blend of fun, fitness and competition. So I invite all the corporate people out there to come to the court and showcase their passion for sports as well.
Top corporates are already in. Are you?
Presenting sponsor, Srinidhi University, Kindle the Light Within. Co-powered by Tata AG, with you always. Venue partner, Gopichand Academy. Sports medicine partner, CSSH, Center for Spine and Sports Health. Associate sponsor, Blue Star, built on trust. Dinshas since 1932. D-Beats, a diamond is forever. Tata New. Celebration partner, Big Bull, the future of clubbing.
Welcome back. Well, India has sent this word out now to the global community. In fact, NSA Ajit Doval has briefed his counterparts in the United States, United Kingdom, Japan, Saudi, UAE and China, explaining the rationale behind India's precision strikes on terror camps in Pakistan and PoK under Operation Sindoor. Officials say that Doval assured the global partners that India's action was measured, it was non-escalatory and restrained, and carried out in response to the Pahalgam terror attack that claimed 26 innocent lives. Doval has emphasized that India does not seek further escalation, but warned that any provocation from Pakistan would be met with a resolute response. NSA has also established contact with Russia and France. Of course, China I did mention. In the United States, Doval spoke to NSA Jake Sullivan and Secretary of State Mark Rubio. In the UK, he's briefed NSA Jonathan Powell and also reached out to top officials in Saudi Arabia, UAE and Japan. Sources say Ajit Doval will remain in close touch with the counterparts in days ahead as India seeks to maintain global support while keeping regional tensions in check. We also saw Donald Trump, who reacted to India's military strikes, not the most settling way. In fact, what I did hear from him was quite amusing. He says the tensions between India and Pakistan has been on for centuries. Well, Pakistan is not even a century old. This is what Trump said. Let's listen in.
No, it's a shame. We just heard about it just as we were walking in the doors of the Oval. Just heard about it. I guess people knew something was going to happen based on a little bit of the past. They've been fighting for a long time. You know, they've been fighting for many, many decades and centuries, actually, if you really think about it. No, I just hope it ends very quickly.
Right. Ambassador Dasgupta, your take on the global community and their responses. Of course, I'm not going to comment on what the US said. I've been quite miffed with the US's reaction, not settling for us to hear Donald Trump, who's ideally supposed to be cordial with India at this point, saying that, you know, this is an age-old animosity or, feud between the two nations. It's just sad. They've been constantly fighting. It's centuries old. Irresponsible, dismissive statement and not acknowledging that Pakistan is harboring terror. How difficult is that for a country like United States to understand, while he himself is being quite vocal about a terror breeding in his own ground? So the rest of the world community, Ambassador Dasgupta, has been briefed by NSA Ajit Doval. Is that protocol? Is that how it's supposed to be done?
Absolutely. I think we had prepared the ground in advance by telling all the major countries that we will respond, that we are reserving our right to respond. And then after the strikes took place, we also informed them of what had taken place. And most importantly, that we had not hit any Pakistan army installation and that we had only targeted the terror infrastructure. So it was done in a very efficient manner and in a very, I would say, restrained manner. As far as the President of the US, his statement is concerned, it is disappointing because Pakistan has been known for decades to have harbored terrorists. Osama bin Laden was in fact hunted out by the US Navy SEALs and killed there. So it is quite well known, but this kind of a statement, which was not expected, a stronger statement, more assertive statement that Pakistan needs to shut down its terror machinery. That is the kind of response we had expected from President Trump. But be that as it may, we will have to fight our own battles. And the issue is that we are waiting for the Pakistanis to cross the line and attack our military installations. If that happens, Pakistan indulges in adventurism and attacks our military installations, then I think we will go hammer and tongs and we will cross the international border and we will take the necessary steps to teach a further lesson. And that is what I think the NSA has mentioned to the Chinese.
Yeah.
That for us, it stops here. But if Pakistan were to escalate, then we will respond very sternly and in an effective manner.
Yeah. You know, we did hear today of many of the Pahalgam terror victim families who spoke up after this strike from India on Pakistan. Here's a sense of relief that many of those victims' families expressed. I'm going to play out some of them for you.
हमने अपने भतीजे को, जो खानदान के अंदर सबसे बड़ा बेटा था, सबसे बड़े भाई का बेटा था, वो हमारे घर से चला गया। उसकी पूर्ति तो कोई नहीं कर सकता है, पर सरकार ने जो कदम उठाया है और आतंकवादी का जो हम चाहते थे कि आतंकवादी शब्द जड़ से ही मिट जाना चाहिए और सरकार ने इतना अच्छा कदम उठाया, हमें बहुत खुश है उससे।
जो हुआ वो सही हुआ, किंतु जो 4 व्यक्ति है उसको मारना है। 4 कौन है? जो 4 व्यक्ति जिनने बिना डरे जो कार्य करा, जो जानवर के भी नहीं करता वो कार्य करा, बस उसका इंसाफ चाहिए।
जो 4 आतंकियों ने घटना करी थी,
वो कबूल करे कि हमने करा ये चीज, उनकी क्षमता के अनुसार उनको भी वैसी सजा मिलनी चाहिए जैसे वो हुई।
If it is attack on the terror outfits, I think it's the right thing.
because if not now, they will kill some more civilians, some more people across the border, across India, etc. So I think government has done a detailed study before coming into this conclusion of attacking these terror outfits, and we completely support the government decision.
ऐसा व्यवस्था पहले से ही होना चाहिए। ऐसी अब व्यवस्था जो सरकार करी उससे हम संतुष्ट हैं। हम चाह रहे हैं कि हमारी व्यवस्था माने सरकार ऐसी कड़ी से कड़ी रखे कि आतंकवाद को माने जड़ से उखाड़ फेंके और आइंदा आगे से किसी के घर के कोई व्यक्ति को आतंकवाद मार न सके। हम इससे संतुष्ट हैं कि जो कल भी स्ट्राइक की गई है उससे भी संतुष्ट हैं। हम चाहते हैं कि सरकार हमारी जो मोदी जी हैं, अमित शाह जी हैं, जो भी व्यवस्था किए हैं अच्छी है।
सरकार इस मामले में बहुत ही ज्यादा सेंसिटाइज और सेंसिटिव है और वो अपना काम कर रही है। और आपने इस रात वो देखा कि सरकार ने कितने दुरुस्तता के साथ सही ठिकानों पर आतंकवाद की कमर तोड़ने के लिए उस पर कड़ा प्रहार किया है। और भविष्य में कभी ऐसा ना हो, इसलिए उनको ये सबक सिखाया जा रहा है।
Right. Well, we saw many levels of those reactions, many of them outpouring of pain, some of them expressing relief. You heard the man saying that this was a direct attack on the terror's backbone. And that's what we saw with 14 members of Masood Azhar's family being killed in this Operation Sindoor. So certainly a big win for India. I'm going to bring that final word from General Shukla to give us a word on this attack on the terror launch pads. We've managed to strike 14 people of the same family, and that happens to be the family of Jaish, one of the dreaded terror outfits that has been in existence for decades, and Pakistan denies having any role to play, but they are being clearly funded. 14 people, their family itself have acknowledged, a statement has been released. How do you look at this? How big a win is it for us?
So, Nabila, the pain and anguish of Pahalgam has been avenged greatly. But I think what is more important is that we must not let the pain and anguish of Pahalgam dissipate into anger. We must channelize it into productive pathways for the future. And there, let me make 3 points which arise from the discussion so far. 1, technology is driving geopolitics and national security like never before. So we spoke about the technological attributes in this strike. Much more needs to be done. Look what technological innovation is doing in Ukraine. A country without a navy is using crude drones and Starlinks to knock out the iconic Black Sea Fleet out of Sevastopol. So we should invest far more greatly in technology, because this is just the first of the challenges. As in this road to Amrit Kal, there are larger challenges waiting for us, most notably China. So technological innovation. 2, as we enter this bigger power competition, we are the 4th largest economy, soon to be 3rd largest. We have to step up our game in national security.
Yeah.
And here, as our foreign policy becomes more assertive, even muscular, what we must understand is that the instrument of force must be taken to higher levels of readiness and lethality, so that the next time we are called upon to do something, we execute it with even more clinical precision. And the last point that I would like to make is, that foreign policy matters, the diplomatic space matters. There will be technology partnerships, collaboration in supply chains, but military strikes have to be executed autonomously.
Yeah.
And if we have to execute those strikes autonomously, we need far greater structural and cultural connections. So we've done well, but there are greater challenges that lie ahead of us. We must step up our game in national security by an order of magnitude.
I think with the attacks this time, Operation Sindoor has only sharpened our military skills and our assets. This is just a way forward now for us. It's onward looking. There's a lot that's to be done, like you said, and I think we're on the right track. And as I wrap here, all I'd like to say is, of course, thank you to all our panelists right here, but a big, big, big thank you to our armed forces. On that note, have a great night. We'll be right back, same time, same place tomorrow.
Smashing corporate boundaries through sport. The News 9 Corporate Badminton Championship 2025, in collaboration with Padma Shri Pulela Gopichand, offers cooperation